Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 13th of February, 2024. Coming up in the Tuesday Rant of the Crusty podcast, Charlie and the Maga Canada Factory. That's right, Charlie Angus and his ridiculous private members bill and all these liberals and parts thereof accusing Canadian conservatives as being Trump-like MAGA Republicans. Tisk, tisk, tisk. All that and more coming up in the Tuesday Rant, the podcast. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because I might swear. I might smoke cigarettes. I just don't know. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back in this beautiful 13th of February, 2024, the Tuesday Rant. Charlie Angus and the Maga Canada Factory. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. I know my beard's coming in a little bit here. Too much white for my like. Needless to say, anyhow, there. And this is also brought to you by the Veterans for Freedom Television, supported and endorsed by Veterans for Freedom Television. Links will soon to follow. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Hope you've all had a decent week. My apologies for not having an episode up sooner. Had a pretty busy weekend. Had some legal stuff to look after in regards to my writing, some tax stuff and some emotional stuff, but everything's okay now. I'm feeling much better now. Anyhow, make a long story short, interesting week in Canadian politics. I tell you, crack don't smoke itself. That's for sure. Wow. I know Mr. Charlie Angus, Mr. Career politician, NDP aficionado, excuse me, puts together a bill, a private member's bill, basically forbidding common folk like you and me for promoting oil and gas and basically companies alike from promoting oil and gas. And what I'll do is I'll play a little video from CBC of all places. That's right. You know, Mr. and Mrs. I get bonuses on taxpayer dollars and promote subpar programming, but I'm digressing. Anyway, Mr. Charlie Angus, a lifelong member of the NDP party, I think a 20-year politician, if I'm not mistaken. He is from the Timmins James Bay riding. If you've spent any time in that area during the Canadian winter, you can see the importance of fossil fuels coming into everyone's daily lives in that area. However, they elected a clown that wants to promote a bill that stops people from promoting fossil fuels in this country. He wants to compare them to cigarettes. Now, I remember the big stink that was caused with cigarettes back in the late 80s and late 90s. We have to warn kids this, warn kids that. We can't have this, we can't have that. And yet the government still realizes they make quite a bit of tax off tobacco and liquor products. Yes, indeed. Quite a bit of tax there for you and me, right? Because I know for a fact that where I live, the overall cost for a package of cigarettes is roughly $4.25 or a bit higher, depending on where you go. The retailer gets its chunk, and the distributor and the manufacturer, i.e. the tobacco company, gets his chunk too. The rest of it is tax, provincial and federal alike. So I just really don't like the comparison and the disingenuous bullshit that has come with Mr. Angus's proposal. I'll cue that video up for you in a minute here too. One more time too, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for not being here. It's like I say, it's been a weird week, needless to say. All's good though. There'll be some changes coming at the Crusty podcast soon. There is a poll in my YouTube page. I would love for you all to answer and comment if you can too. There's 2 polls in regards to how many episodes I should put up a week, and in regards to donations too. Now, I'm not going to sit and demand cash. I'm not that type of person, but I'm really starting to encourage you all out there too. If you can donate to my show once a month, that's all. Once a month, one payment of $5 or $10 would be fantastic. Links will be in the description. If you want to do it, use the Buy Me Coffee app or the donations link to my webpage. Use my PayPal. It's all there. And please consider donating to the Crusty Canuck podcast today if you can too. Plus, I had some issues with my shop, back and forth emails with my links and all that too with the shop there. Apparently, it's working fine now. So if you see the link of my shop in my description, click on it, get yourself a fancy t-shirt. baseball caps from Crusty Cat Swagger, a lovely swimsuit for the ladies, for the Baywatch aficionados out there, and whatever items that you fancy. And keep in mind that I do give, when I do make enough, I do give a healthy chunk to the Veterans Association food banks in Calgary and Edmonton. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I do try to do some good work for people. And make a long story short, back to this episode. That's right. The whole, Tuesday rant. Mr. Charlie Angus and the Maga Canada factory. Now, I'll keep a video here, an article in regards to what Charlie said from the CBC, as well as just some of the BS that's been promoted with this page. What I will do is I will cue this up, you listen to it, and you decide, ladies and gentlemen. You decide. It's only about a minute 34, but you'll see how he wants to compare big oil to big tobacco, and I'll read a little article to back it up, ladies and gentlemen. It just seems like every week there's a new politician that has some new gesture that we should follow in the name of safety and helping people. That's right, because we're in this world together, and it's going to take more and more of our carbon tax dollars to really, really save the planet as we see it. You know what I mean? I tell you, we need more dollars to help people here. So you decide, ladies and gentlemen, what you think is right. I encourage you all to use your head and use it properly. But listen to this ass clown's speech about oil and gas.
They're shifting their propaganda with false claims of producing cleaner products, claiming they can be part of the climate solution. That's like Benson and Hedges telling you that they can help end lung cancer. This is because big oil has always relied on the big tobacco playbook of delay and disinformation. And so to tackle this immense threat to human health, we need to use many of the strategies that finally took down big tobacco. In 1997, the Canadian Parliament banned advertising from big tobacco because of the clear threat to human health. This is why I'm so proud to stand here today with representatives of Canada's medical community to state that the time has come to ban all oil and gas advertising. The big tobacco moment has finally arrived for big oil. Bill C-372 will, quote, provide a legislative response to a national public health and environmental problem of substantial and pressing concerns. The bill will make it illegal for big oil and gas lobby and the gas lobby or their front groups or paid influencers to falsely promote the burning of fossil fuels as a benefit to the public. The legislation will make it illegal to falsely claim that the use of one fossil fuel product is somehow better than another fossil fuel product in improving the environment. To claim that there are clean fossil fuels is like saying there are safe cigarettes. We know that is simply not true.
Yeah, okay. Jesus Christ, Charlie, do you comb your hair with a pork chop? What is it, buds? Think about it, like really. Just like the disinformation, or we're going to take the playbook out of big tobacco and all this stuff. Okay, you're full of it, buddy. 20 years you've sat in Parliament. Now, the fine people at Timmins and James Bay have voted your sorry ass, let you have a job. You're getting a pay raise this year. Now, you're proposing a private member's bill. I get it. That's fine. It's a private member's bill. But think about this, ladies and gentlemen, okay? There are career politicians out there that want to do far worse and far less, regardless of what they're getting paid. Come April 1st, every MP is getting a raise. Every shadow minister and minister is getting a raise. And our beloved Prime Minister Potato Aficionado, little Pierre Jr., little Fidel Jr., Justin is getting a pay raise. So while they're collecting taxpayers' money, they want to penalize companies advertising their product. Now, I wonder what the fine people of your riding, Mr. Angus, is going to say to you in regards to next winter, or this winter for that matter. I've spent some time training in that area. It's damn cold, right? So burning is bad. Burning anything is bad. Doesn't matter if it's wood, plastic, farts, whatever. It's bad. Okay, you want to get the technical scientific terms. You burn anything, throw it in the atmosphere, it's terrible. But what was mankind doing prior to the advent of fossil fuels? Some people were burning shit. Some people were burning wood. Some people were burning coal. I think we've come a long way since days of burning shit. Mr. Angus, Mr. Communist, right? Like I tell you, people, some people's kids. It just goes to prove that, communism fails, and that man combs his hair with a fucking pork chop.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to this beautiful 13th of February, 2024, the Tuesday Rant with Crusty Canuck, episode 261. That's right, Charlie and the Maga Canna Factory. So I've already talked about Charlie Angus and just the stupid proposal that has gone into this, I'll read something that comes from the National Post here, too. And I will put this on here for you all to read along if you want to. But he more or less says, it's just people should be jailed for this insolence. This insolence. How dare you promote fossil fuels? How dare you? How dare you? Oh, my goodness. We should jail people for this. Yes. I'll just read along here because this is just too good to be true. From the National Post, we should jail people who say my bill will jail people. The imagined thoughts of Charlie Angus. Now, this is 3 days old. I know some of this information is a little while old here, but I'll leave a link in the description for you. There's a video here from the commentator. This week's NDP Charlie Angus tabled a private member's bill that arguably ranks as one of the most illiberal pieces of legislation to ever hit the House of Commons order paper. The Fossil Fuel Advertising Act would prescribe jail time for anyone who promotes fossil fuels. Even the promotion includes ostensibly true things such as selling oil as a good for the economy. Angus has claimed that his bill C-372, remember that, ladies and gentlemen? C-372 is merely a bid to ban corporate campaigns making false claims about the benefits of burning fossil fuels. But the text of the bill says differently. It's written so broadly that it technically criminalizes the very act of writing a pro-oil Facebook post or slapping on an I Love Canadian Oil and Gas bumper sticker. Anyway, in the Dear Diary of the National Post, satirically reimagines a week of life of the newsmaker. This week, Tristan Hopper takes a journey inside the thoughts of Charlie Angus. However, we'll let Tristan Harper do that. I'll leave the link in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, it just goes to show how many people really care about what about what they're doing. Right? Now, there are innovations, there are ideas out there that we can help with the so-called crisis, right? But taking more money from people and penalizing people and threatening people with jail time is not one of them. You and I know this. Look what happened during the pandemic and during the Freedom Convoy. And I'm not going to say freedom. I'm going to say freedom. Okay? Because everybody who sat on their hands and sat and just assessed everything, oh my God, how dare you? How dare you? I'm going to pose this question yet again. Did you want to see blood in the streets when these individuals were standing up in Ottawa? Would that be a proper freedom convoy? Chaos and carnage in the streets? Would that have made certain people feel better? Think about that for a second. Yeah, look at the protests that are going on in this country right now in regards to what's happening in Israel, in regards to what's happening in Ukraine. All those individuals can protest outside of hospitals, churches, synagogues. There's already a few more stories about people trying to set fire to more churches in Regina, for crying out loud. And yet there's still people sitting on their hands going, how dare you protest the pandemic? Contrast, perspective, contrast and perspective. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. What are you willing to fight for? What do you think is right in this country? What do you think is good in this country? Oh, what are you willing to fight for? Fight for your families, fight for your jobs, fight for your livelihoods. A lot of people have, especially out here in Alberta. A lot of the smoke is starting to clear. A lot of people are stepping up saying, okay, we're going to sue the government for wrongful closure, for wrongful dismissals, for wrongful firings, for having bureaucrats telling us what to do. Now you get this clown named Charlie telling us what should we say about fossil fuels. It's nothing like tobacco, because when you look at what's going on right now with fentanyl and meth use and advocates saying there's a safe supply, I don't want kids touching safe supplies of anything. I'd sooner watch a kid smoke a cigarette and get his hands on fentanyl. That's just me, though.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
You're back, ladies and gentlemen, the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 261 of the Tuesday Rant, brought to you in part and supported by Veterans for Freedom TV. Stand to. More information is coming as we speak. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. And just a reminder, too, I hope you like and click like and comment and subscribe. Share this content all of your social media platforms. If you want to find my podcast on any other platform, just type in the Crusty Canuck podcast in your address bar, and I might see my mug, or you might see my my logo up there. Click on whatever link you can decide and try out the podcast on your own. If not, you can find me on Spotify, Amazon, Supercast, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and Apple. And do not forget my host, podbean.com. You can find the Crusty Canuck podcast there. Tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your mother's friends, play bridge, and just pass it all around. Anyways, I digress. Episode 261, Charlie and the Mega Canada Factory. Now, the past couple of weeks, we've all heard the whole comparisons, the whole mudslinging back and forth in Parliament since these clowns got back to work after having a glorious 6-week fucking vacation, right? Talking about who's this and who's that. And you've heard me ramble on and rant and rave in regards to how the Liberals brand, or the Liberal brand now, is nothing like the Liberal brand I knew back in the 90s or in the 80s for that matter, right? But here's an article from the Toronto Sun in regards, Liberals say much is at stake as they paint Tories as mega politicians. Now, this is from the 20th of January last month, but needless to say, it's still pretty well relevant. I just keep rambling on here, ladies and gentlemen, but it just gets so stupid after a while. No matter where we go, what we do, we're just finding all this comparisons. Oh my God, you're this. Oh my God, you're that. It's like it's like you're dealing with high school girls again. No offense to girls out there, but you know what I mean. It's like the gossip mill keeps going. But I'll read this along and you guys decide. I'll leave the link in my description for you all to follow at your own leisure, ladies and gentlemen, as always. But this is from the fine people at the Toronto Sun. Oh, here we go again. Liberals say much is at stake as they paint the Tories as mega politicians. Yeah, here we go. Ottawa, as the United States election cycle goes into full swing ahead of pivotal election later this year, federal Liberals north of the border have been increasingly comparing Canadian Conservatives to Trump Republicans, as if. For several months, the refrain from Liberal MPs is the federal Tories are doing American-style, quote-unquote, politics, and their leader, Pierre Poilievre, is representing Trump north. Okay. Conservative MPs are using the MAGA tactics, as Liberals say, referring to Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. They're invoking it is just an ex-president looks for another kick at the presidential can. The comparison south of the border is a classic page in the Liberal playbook, and the tactic conservative politicians have seen brought out both provincially and federally. To the Tories, it's just a lazy trope and distraction from pocketbook issues. But the Liberals are arguing that it's more at stake, painting their rhetoric as an attempt to shield Canada from far-right populist wave that is surging in other democratic countries and spelling harm to priorities such as LGBTQ plus rights and climate action. People around the world are becoming increasingly anxious and frustrated over the price of goods and housing, right? Not to mention other inflations too. Housing shortages, and conservatives are capitalizing those emotions by using Trump's playbook, says the Liberal Party's national campaign co-chair. Quote unquote, these are the attacks being used when you want to polarize emotions in the way that you present the facts that feed in your own ideology and put fear into people, says Quebec Liberal MP Soraya Martinez Ferrada, who is serving as Trudeau's tourism minister. Okay, what the hell has a tourism minister got to do with this? Yeah, some people's kids, right? Oh my God. That's the way you want to drive politics. And it's something new we're seeing here in Canada. It's not just coming from America. We see it in other countries, and that's what's different right now. Countries across the European Union are seeing a rise of far-right populist parties. In November, Argentina elected a far-right outsider as president. Well, he's not a far-right. He's just libertarian. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, last week, Trump won the Iowa caucuses, paving the way for him to become a likely 2024 Republican presidential nominee. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been falling behind in the polls for months. Like members of his caucus, he has been hitting hard on the idea that Poilievre borrowing from Trump's brand is campaigning. As abortion and transgender rights remain hot-button issues in U.S. politics, Trudeau has tried to link both topics to Poilievre. What we're seeing from these MAGA conservatives is an approach on going back on fundamental rights in a ways we shouldn't be seeing, he said in a year-end review with the Canadian Press, suggesting that conservatives in Canada could go down the same road. Yeah. Noting a rollback on abortion access in the U.S., Trudeau said, we may think out to ourselves, this will never happen in Canada, and this just liberals bringing up the usual fear that they do. I'm sorry, it was never supposed to happen in the United States either, and yet it did because of mega conservatism. The threat is real. Trudeau also accused Poilievre of trying to use LGBTQ plus kids as a wedge issue. Anyway, I'm not going to go on with this. This is just such rhetoric. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the link in the description for you all to follow at your leisure. Right? It's just pathetic, just really sad tactics. And you can see, especially by those quotes. And what the hell is the tourism minister going to do with anything? Like, she should look after tourism. How are you going to bring people to come into Canada and tour the country to spend their money in Canada? That's your concern, madam. Right? That's your concern. So it seems like every time we turn around, there's always some crackpot politician weighing in on his or her opinion because theirs is just so pure and simple. That matters so much. Well, us plebes got to keep paying it forward. Okay. Like just buffoonery. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I think Poilievre has some great points. And he's actually got the cojones to stand up and say things. Sort of members of his caucus. That's the opposition. That's how our parliamentary system works. Now, for those individuals that want to sit behind safe words and safe spaces, I highly suggest you get a grip on reality because the tides are turning, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't matter what's going on in Europe right now. Doesn't matter what's happening in the Middle East right now. What's going on right here in Canada? What I just submitted to you for your approval. What's going on here in Canada? We've got politicians that want to pass bills that forbid you to promote something. We've got politicians that want to pass bills that want to stop you from saying something. You should be scared about that. You should be concerned about that, one way or the other. Shows you concerned to the fact that you have these elected officials who have so much education, who think they know what's best for you and I, and they're scared when somebody has a different opinion. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? No, really, what's going to happen if someone disagrees with them?
Absolutely nothing.
Precisely. But if we disagree and we protest that, then, we might get fined or go to jail or, be canceled or chastised in the public square. Oh my, who knows? But needless to say, stand our ground. So it doesn't matter if you agree with Poilievre, doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with any of these politicians, right? What's scary is there's some Canadians out there that agree with Mr. Angus's proposal, Bill C-372. There's also Canadians out there that agree with C-11, C-18, C-36, which brings me to this whole debacle with Bell Media, right? It says that they had to lay off 4.8 thousand people. That's a lot of people out of work in Canada's mainstream media. That's what happens when you bring these corporations into the corporate welfare scheme of things. Pay this, pay that, hoping they'll slap and tickle for your pickle and give you some favor. Meanwhile, the CBC has been nailed for letting people off and giving themselves bonuses and raises. And now Bell Media has done the same thing, laying people off and giving themselves bonuses and raises. Based on what? On what you and I have had to pay in taxes this year. And the year before, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So what's that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? Right? Proves that corporate welfare is not a good thing. It also proves that these guys are liars. I mean, the politicians. I could care less about these media companies because they've been toting the narrative for a very, very long time. Right? The moment you say something they disagree with, you're labeled as a mega conservative or a fascist. The moment you disagree with a certain protest, oh my God, you're a bigot. How about the right to protest? Can we stand up for that? How about the right to express yourself? Can we stand up for that? How about the right just to be who you are? I've said numerous times in this show, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care how you identify, how you live your life, what you believe in. But you take it upon yourself to use violence to push those beliefs, then we've got a problem. You start hitting people, taking their stuff, we've got a problem. You start saying stupid things like that NDP there the other day, saying parents don't have any rights. Buddy, parents have a lot of rights when it comes to the welfare of their children. They have every right to. Every family member has the right to stand up for their nieces or nephews or their family members respectively. And there are people out there that agree with that kind of clown, that buffoonery, right? So tables are starting to turn when you think of the whole dynamic, ladies and gentlemen. I remember when conservatives were the assholes. I remember when liberals were pretty cool. Now you all see the whole 180 switch. Wow. Who's the crack baby and who isn't the crack baby? Who is the real totalitarian and who's the real libertarian here? Who stands for proper liberalism and who stands for tyranny? You're seeing it. It doesn't take a degree in political science to figure that out. It doesn't. Just sit back and watch and listen to both sides of the spectrum. And then formulate your own decision, as we should in this country. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I did have a Canadian Polar Vortex bullshit award queued up for this week, but apparently the little link I had for it is not working. So I'll have to recalibrate or something later on. But needless to say, it was going to be Charlie Angus. Hate to burst your bubbles, ladies and gentlemen. But I try to call out buffoonery when I see it. Okay. I'll give you some more updates too. Please check out my community page on YouTube and Facebook for updates on what's going on. I'm going to try to do this podcast maybe 3 times a week. So there is a survey in my community page. I would love for you all to answer when you get a second. Throw a comment too in regards to my displaying how many episodes a week and to payment I would like to receive in lieu of that as well, ladies and gentlemen. So please answer my surveys to the best of your ability. I'm going to take them down next week, so I'm going to keep them up for another week. So this time, next Tuesday, I will take the surveys down and I'll formulate my decision then. But between then, stay posted to my YouTube pages and to my Facebook pages and to my new Rumbler subscribers. Thank you very much for the kind words I'm receiving. You guys are awesome. To my Podbean subscribers too. I've seen more people download from the United States. Thank you, my American friends. I still see a couple of people from Ireland and Wales downloading. Thank you very much, UK. And I'm also seeing some more Mexicans download my work too. So thank you very much to Mexico. Gracias. Gracias. Thank you very much. And just keep downloading, keep sharing my work around all over the social media platforms. And let's beat this censorship BS so the government doesn't cry again like Justin did, because he was so upset about Bell Media doing what he did, even though he slapped and tickled their pickles for the better part of 6 years. $40 million, I think, worth. Interesting, eh? Who's laughing now, Justin? You clown. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 13th of February, 2024. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so get your loved one a little thing of flowers or some candy or something nice. And just tell your loved one how much you appreciate her or him or whatever you're into. And just be real. Once again, my apologies for not getting an episode up to you sooner. I know the format has been Saturdays and every other Tuesday, or every other Saturday and every Tuesday. But like I said, I'm going to change the format too. So check out my surveys and my community pages, please, ladies and gentlemen. Answer accordingly, and please consider donating too if you can. Links will be in my description. Check out my Podbean pages. Check out all my pages if you can too. If you're not sure, shoot me an email. Ask me a question whenever too. My mailing address will be in the description as well. So if you want to send me some swagger, don't hesitate, please. I don't mind free stuff. I don't care if it's a magazine or a nice card or a letter, whatever you want to do. Just don't send anything derogatory or rotten, because I'll just mail it back to you. All righty. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this 13th of February, 2024. Happy Valentine's Day out there to all my followers. Give yourselves a kiss from me and a promise of, well, whatever. I'm not going to go into that. Long story short, do what you can help you in these trying times. The weather is going to get colder from the Met reps I have seen. It might get a little cooler. So keep your extra winter kit on standby just in case. Don't forget to plug in your vehicles and just try to be diligent. So that way you don't have to replace your battery and shell it an extra couple $100 for just being an idiot, right? You know what I mean? Do diligence on your part, ladies and gentlemen. Help a neighbor out if he or she's hurting. Help somebody else if they are hurting. Just do what you can to be kind to people to the best of your ability. Like I say, in these trying times, helping each other out and try to find the light in this manufactured darkness. We will prevail. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you in the next few days. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worth.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.